Morning, class. We're going to go over 4.3. We're going to apply proportions to percent problems. So we're continuing on with proportions. So a percent is a ratio that we use 100 that compares something to 100. So 15% is 15 out of 100, 20% is 20 out of 100, and so on from there. So we go from, so what we're going to do is we're going to use the following setup to solve problems in this section. So our setup is going to be this, a proportion, our percent, whatever percent they give us, if it's known, we'll put it that over 100, and then we're going to use equals is over of, meaning what number is, so whatever comes after is will go on top, whatever comes after of will go on the denominator. For example, what percent of 50 is 35? So again, what percent? We don't know the percent, so we put x over 100. Now it's is over of. Is, what comes after is 35. Of is 50, so we go 35 over 50. We don't know the percent, so you leave it like that. And then we could cross multiply and solve. So that's what we're going to be going through today. So what percent of 80 is 18? Again, what percent? We don't know, so we go x over 100 is equal to, is 18, of is 80. Now we cross multiply. N times 80 is 80n. 100 times 18 is 1,800. Now we go ahead to get rid of 80, divide by 80. So n is equal to 22.5. So what percent of 18? So 18 out of 80 would be 22.5%. So we want to fill that in, understanding what we're trying to solve. Next one, find 75% of 320. So they give us the percent, so we put that over 100. We don't know what the is, so we put a, or you could put x, whatever you want, or n. Now you cross multiply and solve. A times 100 is 100a. 75 times 320 would be 24,000. To solve for a, divide by 100, and we can get 240 as our answer. So what we'd say again, 75% of 320 is 240. So, story problem. Looks all terrible. According to the United States Geological Survey, the surface water accounts for 77.6% of our country's total water supply. The surface water supply is about 264.4 billion gallons per day. Find the total water supply. So again, they give us the percent right here, so that would go over 100. The water supply is, so that's the is part, so that goes on top. Now we go ahead and we don't know the of, so that's going to be our variable. So 77.6 over 100 is equal to 264.4 over W, the total water supply. Cross multiply, and then divide. So it'd be about 340.7 billion. All right, so the total water supply is about 340.7 billion gallons per day. Kind of finishing up with some percents that don't always come out nicely, or they may be way big or way small. What percent of 170 is 68? What percent? So we don't know, so it'd be x over 100, and then is over us. So 68 over 170. Cross multiply, and then divide to solve for it. All right, so percents that are greater than or less than. So here we go. What percent of 90 is 135? So we go ahead, set it up. What percent? Don't know the percent. Of 90 goes in the denominator, is 135. So we cross multiply. So this is going to give us a percent greater than 100. Same steps, divide by 90, so our percent is 150%. Lastly, what is 0.48%? So it's a very small number, 0.48, not even a whole percent. So we go 0.48 of 100 is over of. We don't know what the is, so we're going to put x over 250. Cross multiply. So we have 100x equals 120, divide by 100, and we get about 1.2. So 1.2 is 0.48% of 250. So as we look at, we're going to just relate last example. So here's percents. So a couple percents that you're going to see. 5% off, 10% off, 20%, 25%. So 5% is 1 out of 20. 10% is 1 out of 10. 20% is 1 out of 5. 25% is 1 out of 4. 33%, 1 out of 3. 40%, 2 out of 5. 50%, 1 out of 2. 60%, 3 out of 5. So you can see 2/3. 75% is 3/4, 80% is 4/5, 90% is 9/10. So, or 9 out of 10. So you look at those, this is a chart that we could reference back to. For example, like this. Estimate the number that is 32% of 241. So what percent is this close to back on a chart? 32%. 32%, we have 25%, 33%. So it's closest to this, which is 1/3. So we're going to use 1/3, so we want to know what's about 1/3 of 240. So we go 1/3 times 240 is about 80.33. So what can we round this to? 80.33? We could just round that to 80. So 80 is the approximate so 80 is about 32% of 241. So we're just going to round up or down just a little bit. So that's our lesson for today. The biggest thing to remember is you write your percent over 100 is equal to is over of, and then we can cross multiply this all.